Bronco Nation News is presented by RowPaint.com, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, by Lithia Ford, The Blue and Orange Store, Western Collective, by Jackson's, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, by Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and by Timberstone Golf Course.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's the best time to trade in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV with the room to haul your payload or playload. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
RowPaint.com is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. It's Coach Leon Rice and Andy Rowe.
Oh no. Want to just paint my house?
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
Happy Monday. Red's not allowed in our building. I'll let it slide one time, but next time let's make sure that doesn't happen, please. But guys, thank you again for being here as always. Proud of our team, and like I said before, man, thank you, Jesus, for the victory. Give him the glory. Proud of our team. Proud of how they've prepped and how they've worked and how they played Saturday. Once you watch the film, there's a lot for us to continue to learn and grow in. And that's the awesome part for my job. And when we meet with our players today is going to be, what did we learn and where are we growing to? And there's a lot of good on that film, but there's a lot more things that I'm excited for our position coaches to streamline for our players. Because especially, for me with our coaches, and even myself with our team, is we've been around them for a while now. They've heard my voice a lot. And we got to make sure in our messaging, it is a fire hose for our players, and we're not misting them with a bunch of different information. So we're going to be very specific. Hey, each position group, this is what we've learned about ourselves. This is what we have to improve on from this past weekend. And obviously a culmination of the first 4 games that we need to be our best going forward. But I'm proud of the relentless effort our team plays with. You could see on film, that's a group of young men that love each other, that play for something bigger than themselves. We got to build on that because there's still some issues in that game that maybe didn't cost us in that game, but just because you win, there's still a lot of things we need to continue to learn and grow. And so I'm excited to do that with our team on Monday or today, and just excited for our guys to continue to build the confidence of who we are as a team, but also knowing that confidence created with how you work every single day. And our practice performance is going to be paramount. There were guys that were banged up last week that weren't able to practice a lot, and they didn't play great in the game. And that's a testament to how you perform in practice is exactly how you're going to play in game. So excited where we're growing to, but just like anything, there's a lot of outside noise, which is earned from our team. There's a lot of pats on the back going on. Ranked 21, awesome. Does not matter. And that's going to be my message again to our team. We played 4 games. We haven't even hit the halfway point of our season yet. We need to keep learning and climbing and growing in everything we do. But proud of where we're at, but we still got a long way to go, and I'm excited to keep pushing forward. I know we talked about the game post-game, but I'm just proud of the overall team of what our guys were able to accomplish out there. And that's going to be our message to our team going forward into Utah State is here, we are always the hunter at Boise State. It's never, well, I wonder if someone's going to we are always the hunter. And that's in how you prep, how you train, how you go to meetings, how you live your life off the field. Like, you are the hunter. You're always focused on how you're growing, how you're going to be on the cutting edge. And this is the biggest game of the season coming up against Utah State. Why? Because it is the next one. And at that point, opponents are nameless and faceless. We have to continue to learn and grow going forward to play our best football. But once again, got to give a shout out to Bronco Nation. I mean, that atmosphere Saturday night on the blue, I don't know your guys' thoughts, but it was one of the most amazing environments I've ever been a part of. That's a testament to our fan base, our students, and got to give even our students another shout out. I mean, the student section, even for this Utah State game, is already sold out. I know the game itself is sold out, and we need everybody to show up, be loud, and be in that game. We're going to need them. So, Bronco Nation, you are the best. We need you. We're in this together.
You mentioned the outside noise in the last couple of weeks. Is that because you think you might have a team that could be an issue for? Or you're trying to get in front of it? Do you feel like you have, whether it's with playoff projections, with what Ashton's doing, do you feel like you have a team that's going to be able to do a pretty good job of putting that stuff to the side? Well,
I think every single college football team has to deal with outside noise, BJ. And it's either negative to where, why are you losing? Why is this not going well? You got to fight that. Or when you're successful, you fight the pats on the back to where the easy thing to do is then become very comfortable and relaxed with your prep because everyone's telling you you're doing a great job, which is the only reason you're doing a good job is because of how you prepped and how you worked. And the second you take your foot off the gas, that will catch you. So I think it's something that time will tell how we handle dealing with the outside noise, because I don't think it's human nature to where you hear – and the easy thing is, it's from the media. No, it's from everybody. It's from parents. It's from anybody. Like, our players are getting inundated with outside noise, me included. And that's for every football player, every coach in the country is dealing with that. Now, how do we do it better? How do we make sure for our players they stay true to their process and their prep to make sure, yes, something you did good, something you didn't do good, that's great, but none of the things that are being talked about outside this building move the needle for our team. What moves the needle for our team is us working, is us practicing our best week of practice. Our best meetings have to be tonight. That's what moves the needle. So I am very intentional with our guys on how to handle some of the outside noise. And it's going to be the same this year, next year, and the years to come, because that's the landscape of college football. and it's the landscape of what we do, and we got to do it better than somebody else.
You mentioned it could be criticisms or pat on the back. I mean, is there a different way to deal with either one of them, or are they kind of both the same, one and the same?
I see them as one and the same, because for our players, we as coaches are very direct with them. We are clear and concise with our teaching of this is what you did well, and these are the 2 or 3 things we need you to grow in. Regardless what people on the outside think, regardless what maybe some other voices into our players feel, this is what we need you to improve and grow on, regardless of what happened on Saturday or what happened in the weeks prior. So regardless where you're at as a team, we could be in a very different situation. I would still talk to our players about how to deal with outside noise, and it's no different for coaches. And we've got to do it better. And it's something that you cannot completely blot out. That's not the reality, and that's okay, because no different for these guys as they grow. And some of our players are going to play in the NFL. Some of our players aren't, but they're going to have situations in life where they're business owners going through it. It's going to be the same. Taking the outside, yep, I hear you. But what really moves the needle is how I handle my process, how I work, and that's what I always focus on. That's why every Monday, and I'm beating a dead horse, is what do we learn? What are we growing to? Next question.
Just with you being ranked, do you think that puts an extra target on your back and gives teams extra motivation? If you're the resume builder now, you're the team's
absolutely, and that's how it's been at Boise State for years. Here is, and I heard this even my first couple weeks on the job is, hey, every time we play someone, we're going to get their best. Even when you watch film, and maybe if you're watching film, you're not seeing a team that maybe doesn't play as well. When they play Boise State, you're always going to get their best. I heard that 8 years ago. And it's no different now. And the more you win, rankings and all this, the target just becomes even bigger. And that's why my message to our team is going to be, we are always the hunter here. And that's easy to talk about. But what I mean by that is how we work and how we prep. We are on the attack. We attack success. We're not afraid of failure. And, I hope we don't lose. I hope we do. No. We attack success. We're the hunter and how we prep, because the more success you have, yes, the target's in the back. Yes, beating Boise State will be huge for every team we play. But us beating Utah State this weekend is going to be huge for the Broncos, and that's all we care about.
What does Utah State do best, let's say, on offense? They've used 2 quarterbacks, because of injury differences. What stands out?
Yeah, well, first off, and I know Nate Dreiling, not super well, but I've known him just over the years as a defense. I think, very highly of him as a defensive coordinator. He was at New Mexico State. And being thrown into the situation he was over the summertime, met him in person for the first time at some of these meetings. And I know what he's going through, right? I went through it last season, and I think he's doing a great job with his team. They played 2 top 10, top 15 teams in the first 4 games. They had Utah on the ropes, and Utah, good team, found a way to win it, but they're playing good football. I know he's doing the defense, being the head coach. He's got good coaches around him, and he's got really good players too. They did a great job in the transfer portal. They got a bunch of New Mexico State players that obviously came with him, and then some other ones from around the country. So I know they're going to be well coached, and they're going to play extremely hard. And he's going to do a great job with their culture to make sure that those guys show up Saturday night playing hard. They're also coming off a bye week. So we know we're going to get a lot of different wrinkles from their offense, their defense, and their special teams, because they've had a week, we're going to be 2 weeks come kickoff, that they can look at Boise State and say, how can we attack them and get that big-time win on the blue? And I know they're going to be ready. Defensively, he's going to have a lot of different looks. He's going to play, they've got some base coverages they play well, but he is going to bring pressure. And he does a great job of bringing in a lot of different situations to create confusion for the quarterbacks. Then offensively, they're staying true to kind of who they've been over the years. They're going to use every inch of the field. They're going to put receivers on the sideline, which puts defense in conflict, because you got to deal with space where if in different situations, you don't have to deal with all that space. We're going to have to deal with all 53 and a third, and they've got some weapons to where bubble screens, now and go. It's tough because of the space. And they've got all 5 returning starters on the offensive line are back. So, they're going to be able to move the ball. They got to do a lot of different run schemes offensively. So they're going to put, defense in conflict, and they put up points on everybody they played, including, some of those top teams. So, and we know we're going to get their best. I know Coach Dreiling. I know how they're going to be coached. I know the talent they have there. They're going to keep getting better, and we're going to see their best on Saturday, and they're going to see ours too.
on the offensive line, I think you prefer like you'd have 5 dudes play every snap together the whole year. That'd be ideal, right?
Yep.
At center right now, you guys it's like a 50-50% split with Holmes and Steele. What is Jason doing to continue to make you guys want to get him into these games?
Yeah, Jay, Jason and Zach are doing some really good things. And I think Coach Keene's doing a good job moving the offensive line around. One, continuing to build depth there, too, because this is a long season. We've only played 4 games. And Jason stepped up a lot. I mean, he's a phenomenal young man, lives in the film room, loves his teammates, and he's continuing to get better. Zach's done some good things to now. So we're going to continue to rotate and continue to give more reps to guys that are playing better, but they've both done a really good job. And we're going to continue to find ways to mix and match our O-line, and they've done it. I mean, we've given up one sack all year, testament to our protection, testament to Maddox getting the ball out on time. And obviously we've done a great job moving the football in regards to our run game. So we're going to continue to mix and match that, Jay, but they've both earned the right to play on Saturday, and we're going to see both of them come this weekend too.
Mason is obviously missing playing time.
Yep.
How much else has he missed? It seems like he is still so freaking involved.
Hey, Mason Randolph, man, you talk, and guys, I was going to tell you he's out for the season, just so you guys are aware. I mean, Mason Randolph will miss the remainder of the season. But he is a guy, he's on our leadership group, voted on by his players, earned. And we just met earlier today, and he's going through a couple guys that he's meeting with to help them grow in our team and where they're at. I mean, he is locked in on the 2024 season to help be the biggest leader and mentor for not only the O-line, which he meets with and goes through things with the centers, with the interior O-line, but also our team. He's talking about other guys in the team that he saw in the game that stepped up, that we need to keep pushing. And this is a guy, Mason Randolph is locked in on this team, and we need his leadership. And it's going to not only help our team now, but it's going to help him in the future stepping into even a bigger leadership role next season.
Maddox Benson, as the leader of this offense, he's moving the ball like crazy. As an individual, his production might be stuck in average. I don't know. How do you rate his first 4 games?
Yeah, he was inconsistent on Saturday. Mike, he needs to make the plays he should make. I actually met with Maddox earlier today. I mean, he's an elite competitor. He's frustrated about a couple of the plays he didn't make that we know he can. But he has done a great job making sure our offense is efficient. The calls, the checks, the things that you see that nobody thinks is on the quarterback, we put him on Maddox because he can handle it, and he's going to continue to play better. And that's what we talked about. And I mean, there's some throws on Saturday that he needs to make and he didn't. He will make those going forward. And so he was inconsistent on Saturday. He's going to learn and grow for it, and we'll see the best Maddox we've seen going forward.
Ashton Genty mania.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a game
Ashton?
plan for it? I mean, is there a strategy? Do you want it to simmer? Are you inviting everybody here? I mean, what's the game plan for Ashton Genty mania?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I've been very open to say in the past, I mean, everything Ashton is getting right now is 100% earned and deserved because of how he's worked and the production he does in the field. Because he's not only the elite running back that the nation has privilege to watch on Saturdays, he's one of the best teammates and leaders I've ever been around. A guy that deeply cares about his teammate, lives in the training room, lives in the film room, and wants nothing more than the success of our entire team. Not what can this team do for Ashton? Ashton is all about this team. So all the things that's being talked about Ashton is deserved. He is the best player in the country. Now, for me, I meet with Ashton on this, I got to continue to find ways to protect Ashton too. And I'm not talking in regards to on the field. I'm talking about some of the outside noise going on, because all of this is coming about not because Ashton had a great couple interviews. It's because he's doing it on the field. And he's doing it off the field in regards to how he's leading his teammates and how he's being a pivotal part of our entire team. So we're going to continue to look for strategic ways with Ash to make sure nothing takes him off his grind, his path, his mission, and going to be smart with the times that he's speaking to the media and the times that he's pulled in situations. Because he could, I mean, if we open the gates for him, he could be on a podcast or meet with the media all day long, which will take away from him become the best version of himself and him doing what our team needs him to do. So we're gonna be smart. We're thinking through some strategic ways. And I've told Ash, I'm going to be intentional to protect him, his time, to make sure he can stay focused on what really matters, which is his leading this team and him making sure that he continues to grow throughout the season.
Chase Penry's been getting more involved in the offense. Obviously, the injury last year slowed him down, but what have you seen in his growth over the last few years?
Chase Penry is a great teammate. I mean, even the first couple games, got a couple reps, not a ton. Latrell gets banged up, doesn't play on Saturday. Chase Penry steps up and has one of the biggest catches in the game on that 3rd and XL that he was able to jump forward and get the first down. That's what I love about Chase. I mean, he cares about his team. He's going to do the dirty work. And then when he's called upon to carry the flag and help our team, he did a really good job on Saturday, and we're going to need that from him down the stretch.
What's going on with Prince Strong?
So Prince, we missed him a couple times on Saturday. I mean, there's a couple times in the end zone where Prince is open and we don't give him the ball. And so we need to do a better job getting him the football, and Prince needs to do a better job being consistent in everything he does. And he's grown. He had a good week of practice next week. Now my message to Prince this week is, can we stack 2 weeks of good practice back to back? Because for me, it is all about the team. I don't ever leave a game and think, well, who do we need to get the ball more because of this? No, it's what helps our team win. Now, Prince playing his best football helps our team, and we need that from him. We need him to do that in practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, and he had a good week last week. We need him to build on that. And I thought Bolt did some better things last week in practice. He had one of his better weeks of practice. Missed a couple times in regards to the throw and right through his fingertips on one, but the more you perform in practice and put it on film in practice, you will make those plays in the game. It doesn't mean it's going to be that Saturday. But when your numbers called for our team, if you continue to do it in practice, it will show up in the game. So our receivers in general, I mean, Cam Camper's playing at a very high level, earned and deserved, and he's going to continue to do it. He does it in practice. What I see on Saturday night when the nation watches, I see Tuesday and Wednesday. Now I'm excited for the rest of our receiving core to continue to step up and do the same thing. Make the plays in practice, they'll have in the game. But the reality of playing receiver, sometimes the coverage dictates the ball to go somewhere else. A couple for Prince, he was open, we just didn't give him the ball. And so that's something for our offense. We're going to continue to grow our pass game, and I know we will.
I'm not sure what you're willing to say about James Ferguson Reynolds, but you had to obviously mid-game switch things up. Yep. That affected kickoff and holding and a lot of different stuff. So what you think is some of how that all shaked out, and what's the plan for this week?
Yeah, BJ. So still working through with JFR. I mean, right now he's banged up. He was in the training room earlier today. I know our doctors are working through it to see is he going to be available this weekend? Is he not? It's going to be on the fence to see if he's going to be available this weekend. We'll work through that. But I'm really proud of Jarrett Reeser stepping up. We needed him to. I mean, we need to be more consistent with getting touchbacks. And obviously when the ball gets taken out, our kickoff coverage is improved. We improved on that. Still not where we need to be at from a special team standpoint. There's still a lot of meat on the bone. But I'm proud of our guys stepping up. Terrence stepping up and being our punter in game. Did in practice, first time he had to do it for us in game. He did some good things. And especially for him, with James banged up, we'll see kind of where the injury is here the next couple of days, BJ. But Terrence got to be ready to roll. And Jarrett Reeser stepping up and kicking the ball to get majority touchbacks, huge for our team. The emphasis we put on special teams and winning the hidden yardage that we talk about that happens on punt and kickoff is huge. And we have not won that over these first couple games. We need to down the stretch.
You kind of used the same analogy after the game talking about the passing game. I know you touched on Maddox a little bit earlier, but how do you get the meat off the bone, I guess, when it comes to that? And in a weird way, is it encouraging at all that you're averaging over 45 points per game and you still feel like there is room to grow? Yeah,
as a coach, there's always going to be things that you look at, regardless, even in the run game. Like right now, we're doing a really good job running the football. There's a lot of stuff in regards to our run game, from blocks, missed blocks, things that Ashton just made happen on his own that we got to clean up. We got to grow in. And that's the message in everything, not just stats only tell you one part of the story. Same with our pass game. I think we're doing some really good things. We haven't had the stats that we need to, and we need to make sure we make these throws that we need to make. We got to make sure that we ID the things we need to ID. So there's some things that we're doing well, but we got to continue to practice. We got to continue to grow in it. We got to continue to find the receivers that can step up to win their one-on-ones when the ball in the air. We make that catch, and that quarterback, we got to make sure we get it to him.
Kieran Sheep comes in here, obviously knows what your kicking situation is. You know, he had his role at San Jose State. What kind of a competitor is he to just come in here and say, hey, I want to, be a part of that?
Yeah, Taryn's a great young man. He knew exactly what our specialist room looked like, and he wanted to come in and help our team in any way. If that was kickoffs, if it was field goals, if it was punt, Taryn was like, whatever the team needs me to do, I'm ready to compete and help the team. And you can see how much we've needed him. And even Saturday, something happens, mean, that's the first time in my time here that a punter's been hurt in game. He stepped up right away in a pivotal moment and did a good job for our team. He stepped up and done some good things on kickoff. And then you look at where Taryn struggled, kicked the ball out of bounds to start the game. Jarrett's number was called. They competed in practice. He stepped up and did a really good job. That's what you need in every position group. It's on full display with the specialists because it's easier to kind of point out and see. But that's my goal in every position group in our team, in every position room to, hey, high standards to be a part of this football team. Guys that struggle, we're going to continue to turn the heat up in regards to competition. But I'm proud of Taryn. I mean, a guy that since he's been here, transferred in, has done some really good things, and we need him to continue to grow.
Rodney Robinson got a lot of love in this room last week when we were talking to you guys, and it seems like he even got better on Saturday night. Just how has Rodney been playing?
Mike, really proud of Rodney. I mean, he has grown week in and week out this season, Mike, and I'm proud of him. I mean, one of the biggest plays in the game was that sack on Mateer. It was almost like a turnover because it took him completely out of field goal range, but I'm proud of where Rodney's grown to. Still some things that we're excited for him to continue to grow in and the consistency that Rodney plays with. But that young man loves his team. He's had to play a bunch of different roles here, and him stepping up. I mean, he played well on Saturday, and we need that from him. And I'm proud of Rodney. I'm going to tell the team that when I see him here later today.
Just sticking with Rodney for a second, I mean, it feels weird to say he lost his starting job because he's still playing so much for you guys. But I mean, he kind of did at the same time. How did you guys approach that with him? And I guess what was his reaction? Because I mean, if you look at his numbers, I mean, he's playing darn near an all-conference level right now.
Yeah. I try and I am black and white with our players. This is where you're at. This is why. This is where we need to grow to. And me and Rodney have a conversation in January. And hey, Rod, this is looking at last season. This is where you're at. This is what I need you to continue to improve on. These are my thoughts. This is the film. And because Rodney's a great teammate. He loves his teammate. He's a great young man in this building. No issues there. It's just, hey, these are the things I need to be more consistent in, from either coverage to tackling to communication. And there was not one day from January to now where Rodney came to this building and he was ever feeling sorry for himself. Oh, I'm getting screwed. Not one day was he like that. He went through spring ball, competed, played nickel, played field safety, had to rotate through some different coverage adjustments, played it. Summertime, worked his tail off. Fall camp, him and Shea going back and forth at nickel, played field safety for a couple of years for us. Now he's playing a lot of nickel, competing at it, making plays. And that's Rodney. That's what I love about that young man. And I'm excited for him to continue to grow. There was no, well, what about me? It's what does the team need? I know I need to continue to improve. And he's done that. And you see him growing. And he played one of his better games he's played here on Saturday. Now for Rodney, it's where do we go from that to where we take even another step when we play against Utah State? But I'm proud of Rodney. Yep.
How do you evaluate the defense overall? I mean, you guys, some of the stats don't look great. You're 93rd in takeaways. You're 86th total defense, 109th passing defense, and third downs like 120th. But you lead the nation in sacks, and you're 3-1. And you know, it seems like they're playing well. Just some of the stats maybe don't equal that out. Where are you through the 4 games with the defense?
Yeah, BJ. I mean, like I said, stats tell you a little bit about the picture. Even number 1 in sacks doesn't make like where I sit at home at night and think that we're one of the best pass rushing groups in the country. It tells you a little bit of the picture. What I am very proud of our defense is what we have asked of them to grow in, they have grown in. And what we asked of them, what we knew was going to be a huge part for our team winning this game was we know we had to get after their quarterback. Mateer is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I thought Coach Chins did a great job putting a plan together, knowing that we knew that if he got loose and that he had all the time in the world, that's going to be a very, very tough team to beat. And being able to get 8 sacks in the game, keep him off his mark, create the pressure and confuse him, helped our entire defense. Yes, there's still a lot of things. Like there's a couple times in the game where we miss 4 or 5 tackles on one play. Has to improve. Third downs. I thought we did a really good job on third down in the game. Now we gave up some late that we can't give up. We gave up a couple fourth downs, 4th and longs. Can happen. But I mean, 2 of 5 on 4th down was their offense. Huge plays in the game. So even though they got their yards, we gave up some things we shouldn't. That's going to be our job as coaches to get that fixed. I'm proud of how hard that defense played. They were relentless on Saturday night. Does not mean perfect. Does not mean there's a lot of stats and issues that we need to continue to fix and improve on, BJ, because we're by no means playing at the level we need to for us to continue to win the games we need to win. But I'm proud of where we're at. I'm proud of a defense where Georgia Southern struggled significantly on third down, play better the next week. Like, that's the group we got. And we need to continue to work that way. And it's going to be no different when we start meeting with them today on Monday. So there's some things we're doing really well. There's a lot we need to continue to learn and grow. No different offensively. Yes, there's some really good statistics. There's some that aren't. What do we learn? Where are we growing to? So when you look at it on the film, there's some things that I'm very proud of, but there's also some things that I'm excited to show our team tonight. Like, guys, this is not who we need to be defensively. This is why we got caught up in some situations. Eye control, tackling. But I can promise you this on that film, there's 11 guys absolutely running their tails off and hunting on our defense. Now we got to continue to clean it up.
With Matt Lauder, he had 70 yards after the catch last week. Kind of confident. I don't know if a Boise State tight end's ever had 70 yards after the catch. Most explosive guy at that position you've had since you've been here?
He's up there, to be honest, Jay. I mean, and I'm so proud of Matt. Like I've talked about before, first couple games, didn't maybe get the production that we were hoping for him to have, but he was doing everything we asked of him. Blocking his tail off, doing the dirty work, had a couple catches, big catches, but not the overall stats that one would look at. And he's coming into his own. I mean, Matt Lauder is a matchup nightmare for defenses. He really is. And he practices like it. Now, there's even some things on film for Matt. Had a drop, had a couple other things that we need him to grow. And that's what I love about this game is it's, yes, the stats tell you a picture. Yes, some of the things that get talked out outside tell you a part of it. But, Matt, you did some good things. But I'm excited for you to grow in these couple areas this week. And knowing Matt Lauder, he's a big-time competitor. He's more excited to grow in those things than he is looking at the things he's done well.
When you head into conference play, what are some of the challenges, with it facing teams that are more familiar with than, say, the first 4 games you played?
Yeah. I mean, when you go into conference, we know these teams, they know us. And so now it's going to be, yes, there's going to be schematic switch-ups in all 3 phases, but it's going to be the group of guys on that field at one time that do their job, make the plays they should make, and who's going to play hardest. I believe that because the schematic stuff, we know them, they know us. There's going to be schematic issues on either side. What team's going to do their job consistently and make the plays they should make, and what team goes out there and plays the hardest for 4 quarters?
You mentioned the nameless face, but, obviously this is a game that, will go for that goal right up there.
No question.
Kind of, what's kind of that, trying to keep it the nameless face like?
Yeah, it's the no different if this is a conference game or a non-conference game. It's still the most important game in our season because it is the next one. And yes, it is a conference game. Yes, it is a team that we know we're going to get their best. It's the most important game because it's the next one. And we know it directly correlates to us having an opportunity to play in a championship game. That's down the road. We got a great Utah State team coming to town. We got to be ready.
With that said, is there any emphasis? I know it was like used to be out championship week or whatever, every week, in conference. But I mean, to get to the CFP to do all that, you have to win the conference, and that starts this week. I mean, is there any reminder, I guess, of the conference trophy you're playing for? Or does that become any kind of different goal, starting with conference play?
Yeah, I mean, it's at the top of our team room. I mean, winning our conference is a goal that we go into every single year to do. This is our first conference game, and we're going to approach it no different than any other game this season. Like, it's the most important game because the next one. I believe in process, and I don't say this as a way to dumb down messaging, but I believe in process. We have to continue to improve our process from what did we learn from the first games, what did we learn last Saturday night, and how do we as a Boise State football team play our best football on Saturday? Because that is really all that matters. Mountain West Championship, college football playoff. Guys, that is months away. But if we look at those things ahead of us, we're going to trip and fall and crash against the rocks because we're worried about things we don't control. What we control is at 5 o'clock on Saturday night, we're going to go toe-to-toe with a really good opponent. We better prep our tails off and have our best week to earn the right.
Going back and watching some of Ashton's runs, is there any moment that just immediately pops out to you? Just because, he had a number of crazy ones.
There's no question.
Is there any moment that, I don't know if you take a moment to show the team, something like that, extra effort, anything like that this week?
Yeah, I got a couple clips I'm going to show the team because there are. There's a couple runs, if not more than even a couple, where, I bet you at least 8 or 9 defenders had a dead to right shot on Ashton. He found a way to spin out of it, run over him, make a guy miss, and just absolutely strain to either make a touchdown, get the first down. that's a testament to who he is, how he practices, and who he is as a young man. And so I'm going to show those clips. But it's also reality. I know our players watch a ton of Ashton Genty on their own time. So we could sit in here all day and watch Ashton. I'm going to show the clips that directly correlate to who we are as a football team. Relentless effort, explosives, and the ball. Those are the three categories I always hit with our team. And I'm going to show the clips of relentless effort from Ashton. I'm going to show the relentless effort clips from a receiver blocking downfield to help him. I'm going to show the relentless effort clips of being smart in a game where, okay, are we getting personal foul calls because we're losing our emotion? We're not playing smart. That's a direct correlation to losing football games. I show those clips because we could be in here all day showing highlights of guys doing some good stuff. They'll see that. They see that stuff on their own. They get it sent to them from their parents. I want to focus on the things. What are we learning? Where are we growing to? And what are clips of us being exactly who we want to be?
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
What do you do?
He works Tuesday.
How much does Ashton Genty continue to amaze you?
He is unbelievable. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I've been around some good ones, and time and career years change things. But that guy's unreal. The things he does.
The perspective you have from the box, see the plays develop. I mean, some of the where it looks like there's, that's going to be a 3 or 4 yard run. The next thing you know, he's running free down the sidelines. Like, just from your vantage point, what makes some of what he does so impressive?
Just you can't get him down. I mean, crazy combination of speed and power and ability to run after contact.
I know you kind of knew what you had, obviously, him coming into the season, but as he continues to do this, how do you can you keep giving him more and keep doing more challenging to whether it be play calls or just what you're doing with him? How does what he's doing continue to allow you to kind of tinker with things?
I think there's probably a shelf life to it. We'll see how his body holds up. We're only 4 games in. He's had two games where he's had over 25 touches. If you look at his numbers last year, he averaged 22 touches a game. He had a couple that got up around 30, but we'll just have to see how it goes. I mean, I think you just got to be careful with shelf life. That's been my experience from other seasons with a lot of games in them.
You said that you went to him kind of early last week, and he said that you told him this might be one of those games where he's going to get 25 plus. How does that dialogue go? And why do you feel like it's important to kind of tell him early in the week?
Oh, I think he probably already knew, and but yeah, I think it's important for those guys to know that we're going to be leaning on them some weeks more than others. I think they just have to. I think Ashton does have that mindset for it, but I think just the amount of hits they're going to take, and just the mindset that we're going to need you to stay in. Some of these backs make a long run and they take themselves out for a couple plays, but I was basically saying stay in until J-Mo takes you out.
There were sometimes in third, fourth quarter when he had some of those runs where, and it's like, why would you pass at this point? Just keep giving it to him if it's working. How do you weigh that with the show?
Oh, come on now.
I mean,
we should just give it to him every play.
Well, I mean, I'm being sarcastic. I'm just saying.
I know you are. That's why I'm being sarcastic back. Come on. Don't ask me questions like that.
I guess, how do you weigh, when you said his shelf life, but when he's that successful, how hard is it to take him off the field?
It's hard. Depends on score, time and score.
We were talking to Spencer about Maddox, and his work was inconsistent.
That's your topic every week, Mike.
Well, as the quarterback guru, when you try to fix consistent, where do you start?
Fundamentals. Yeah, he was aiming it a few times. Those couple of those guys were so wide open. I think he was trying not to miss, and you can't play quarterback that way.
Spencer just told us Mason Randolph is out for the season. Just how big of a miss is that for you, and what do you like also Jason Steele and Zach Boone's?
Yeah, I think that's a very misunderstood point, that not only is Ashton doing what he's doing, but he's doing it without two all-conference quality interior offensive linemen. I mean, those two guys are two of the best in the conference at what they do. And hats off to the guys who have taken their place, because they've done an admirable job, but not as good as the two guys that would be in there if they weren't hurt in the first two games. So Mason's a heck of a player. I mean, I thought 2 years ago he was one of the best linemen in the conference, and then he was a little bit banged up last year, didn't get to play as much, and he was set for a huge year this year, and same with Roger. So, the guys that are taking their place have really stepped up, and Coach D preaches next man up. They've done an admirable job. The nice thing is, because we're rotating centers, we're building depth as we go there. And one thing for certain, you're going to need them all, especially now in college, you're up there playing 12, 13 games in a season. It's almost like an NFL season.
About that. Obviously, it's probably ideal that you got the five out there the whole game together. Why is it working right now where you can rotate, Zach and Jason, and they it's obviously going pretty well.
Yeah, well, Zach stepped up in a quick emergency at the end of the Georgia Southern game, and Jason was coming off injury there. So Jason's sort of been playing his way back into it, and it's gotten closer and closer to the point where I think it was 31 snaps to 30 last week, and it was pretty close the week before. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, at every position, Mr. Prater, you play the best players, and sometimes there's competition that's closer at some positions than others.
What do you guys like about Jason there, though? I mean, clearly, with the way Zach played, you could have rolled with him, obviously, but what do you guys like about Jason there?
Jason's got a little more suddenness to him. Both are smart players. Zach has a little calm about him. Jason's a little more antsy out there, but I think he will lose some of that antsiness as he plays more.
With Matt Lauder, it was like your comparisons, Dirk, from how long you've been in this. When you see Matt Lauder out there playing, who's the guy that he reminds you of?
I don't have a great comparison for him. Most tight ends nowadays don't block, and Matt's really an outstanding blocker. He didn't have his best blocking day against Wazoo. He blocked tremendous against Georgia Southern and Oregon. I was giving him a really hard time actually last week, because I told him, forget he's a pass catcher, and remember he's also a blocker. So, he had the big game 2 weeks ago, and he got a little banged up. Maybe he forgot that he was a blocker too, but he did look good running. That was his best game running after the catch. Yeah. And those were two big plays.
How valuable are those kind of extra credit yards, if you will, and especially to get them from your tight end?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's in the NFL. You have that, but a lot of those guys are just big wide receivers. So like I said, I go back to Matt, it's a 245 pound guy that. When he comes across and hits people, and he's got excellent feet. So not only is he a position blocker, but he can also move people, especially the fact that we were missing the Latrell Caples at wideout. So you need to get some explosive plays somewhere else. And, we're still a work in progress behind Cam Camper and Latrell at wide receiver. The other guys are working hard, and they all want more balls, of course, to show that they are that explosive guy. But right now, Matt's filling that role.
Yeah, Prince Strong's one of those guys. He has 3 catches through 4 games. How do you get him going a little bit? Spencer said he was open a few times and he didn't.
He was. He had 3 times in the first half where either the ball went somewhere else. He was just maybe number 2 in the progression, and it went to number 1. We missed him for a touchdown on that drive that we had to settle for the field goal. I mean, he ran a corner route. He was in the back corner, and Mad Dog looked at him, and that's when Mad Dog pulled it down and then fumbled it at the end of the run. But that should have been a touchdown for Prince. It's really similar. The players get frustrated, rightfully so. They know where they're at in the progression, and that I think both Prince and Austin Bolt are feeling the same frustration that Matt Lauder felt the first 2 weeks, because we missed Matt for a couple touchdowns the first couple of weeks. Things are moving fast out there, and it's just, we try to explain to them that it usually works out in the long run, and you just got to keep grinding. That's easier said than done, for sure.
How do you
deal with that? I mean, you got a deep wide receiver room, you got a run first offense. All these guys want these balls, and they probably come to you and say that. So, with your experience, how do you kind of talk them off that ledge and say it's going to be all right?
No, it's hard. I mean, the number one thing is it's a team game, and that was an excellent team win. And it's very hard in this day and age, because selfishness is everywhere, to realize that it's about the team winning the game, not about your individual stats. So that's the transfer portal is the perfect thing for that, because a guy can go catch 42 bubble screens and lose by 50 points, or he can come here and play in a, if we didn't have such dominant run blocking O linemen, and obviously a tradition of great running backs, maybe with the best one ever right now, I mean, that's our best chance to win. I mean, it'd be stupid for us to not play. Shoot, BJ wants us to give it to him every play. We won't ever recruit a wide receiver again.
Having Breezy back, and where he's factoring in RB2, I know he probably didn't have the game he wanted. I don't know if it was rushed. Just assessed having him back. And
well, we need to have him back, and running backs are the position that gets nicked up more than any other. You got to remember, it's been a while since he's been out there. So, to have his first, he didn't really have any contact a whole lot all through fall camp. So to have your first live hits be against a defense like Washington State, it might take him a minute, but just put on the film from last year. He was a pretty good player, and he'll come back fast.
He says that tight ends don't block anymore like they used to. Why is that? Is it game changing? Is it selfishness? What's the reason there?
Well, the spread offense. I mean, there's not a lot of run first teams left. There's Army, there's Navy, and there's Boise State.
Chase Henry, a guy who's kind of been slowed by injuries his first 2 years here, but with Luttrell out, he takes his chance. He has that big catch on third down. What can he bring to this offense?
Chase is a very smart player, can play all three spots, and so with Luttrell out, he jumped in and primarily played in the slot for us. Chase is a tough player. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but Chase was in there mixing it up in the blocking. He's a good route runner. He's got good hands, and that was a nice play on that. That was a big third down that he made for us. So Chase is a versatile player that's going to help us.
Anything else? How close is Gage to being Cage? Excuse me, to being a big time left tackle?
I thought Cage played really outstanding on Saturday. He just doesn't make very many mistakes. He's so quiet, you don't even know he's there. But when you turn the film on, you're going, 77, nice job. 77, that was a nice play. 77, good job. All of our O linemen are playing so hard, but Cage is just he's gifted athletically. He's got the combination of size, intelligence, and athleticism that is probably going to help him a lot when he leaves here.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
What's up, Eric? Question. It feels like the defense is playing better than maybe some of the season stats show. I mean, how do you feel? I know you're improving every week, but how do you look at kind of just your big picture of where you guys are? I'm sure you're going to never be perfect, but I mean, you lead the nation in sacks. You're obviously doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, I think stats, you can kind of make them how you want them. I think you always have to do what it takes to win the game. We knew kind of going in that game, John Mateer is a heck of a football player. We had to limit him. Obviously did not do a good job of limiting him on the first drive. But we knew we had to take, there's things you have to take away. And when you take away things, you got to give up things. You're going to lead to some other stats that are probably not as good. So I think that, so far, we have not been perfect. We have a long way to go. We have a lot of things to improve on, but we've done a good job of taking away what we need to in order to help the team win football games. I think Georgia Southern, we had some errors on defense that we would like to take back. We'd like to have those again. Can't do it. Got to move on. But I think they did a good job of the game plan. The frustrating thing, I think, for our staff was that last drive of the game didn't finish the game how we wanted to. And once again, statistically, that leads to things that you don't want. Just like at the end of the Portland State game, you give up a third down and their biggest run play of the game on a victory where, quote unquote, you won the situation. Doesn't look very good in the stat book. But those things are all out there. Those are all things we got to improve on. Like I said, the last drive, love to have that one back. Love to finish the football game better. We got to do a better job at the end of the game.
After Mateer breaks off that 52-yard run, do you guys make any adjustments, or was it just a matter of focusing in on containing him?
No, I think it was just an execution. They came out of the huddle on the sideline, and I wish I would have had that call back, if you want to know the truth. They came out in a different personnel than they've shown, and it was hard to see who they were coming out. I should have saw it better, but I'd like to have that call back. I don't think I put the kids in the best situation possible on that call. We didn't execute it the way we should have, but I would like to have that call back.
You've talked about what you didn't like, but it felt like this past weekend was the first game where we ranked. That was a solid defensive performance kind of across the board. What did you like this past weekend?
What did I like? I'm glad that was the first time you thought we played good. I did like that we sacked quarterback a lot. We got to the quarterback with what we talked about all week, right? We have to keep him from running the football, which we did. Other than the first play that we just discussed, we got some hits on the quarterback. I thought we did a good job of keeping things in front of us for the most part. He can throw the ball a long ways, like he can throw a deep ball. And so we did a good job keeping things in front of us. We had a deep ball that we gave up, but for the most part, the DBs did a really good job all football game. And I thought we did a good job pressuring, confusing them with our looks. And I thought the kids executed those third downs, those second and long calls really well. And I thought that they played really, really hard. It wasn't perfect. We had some missed tackles. We had some leverage issues, but they played really, really hard. And I was proud to watch their effort on film.
One question, but is there ever correlation with sacks and passing yards given up? And you guys lead the nation in sacks, and you're getting a lot of pressure, but you're 109th in pass defense. Is that because you're more one-on-ones because you're getting pressure? Is it typically not that big of a gap, or what do you see with the sacks and the passing yards?
No, if you to look at it all right now, there has been a few times where there's been some isolated defensive backs on some receivers, which also, it's always a 50-50 proposition, and you'd like to win more than you lose. But I think really right now in the pass game, the thing that we need to do better from a defensive backfield standpoint is just when we get a 5-yard pass, those got to be catch tackles. And some of those are breaking into bigger, more explosive passes because we're not getting that receiver on the ground right away. And we have really good defensive backs, and they're going to work hard on that this week. But I think just when we get the opportunity to make those a 5-yard catch tackle, those got to be catch tackles, and they can't be turned into 13, 14-yard gains.
Going back to January, Spencer said that he talked with Rodney Robinson about maybe we'll call it a new vision for what he does for you guys. What where did you find he can make an impact? Like, where did you find his value to what he's doing right now?
Yeah, Rodney. I mean, he has a big skill set, a very wide skill set of things he can do. Just as we went through spring, I think having him closer to the football, having him getting a little more in the action, he seemed to make a lot of plays. He did a nice job in spring and fall setting the edge. He did a nice job blitzing. He's done a nice job in the underneath coverage stuff. So I think he's embraced kind of what he's asked to do in the defense right now, and he's done a really good job. And I think the other thing with Rod is his ability to, knock on wood, hasn't happened yet, but his ability to play a lot of different spots in the back end. He understands those positions. He understands the scheme. So to have that versatility and never have to worry about, well, if somebody goes down, what are we going to do? We know we always got Rod that can play multiple positions, and he can help shore that thing up.
How big was that sack? But, I mean, it seemed like you guys were on the field forever. And, over 8 minutes, he ends that drive with a sack to knock him out of field goal range.
I mean, it's huge. It's huge to anytime you can take points off the boards, anytime that you can knock them out of field goal range. I mean, that's, I don't know I can't remember if we scored or not on the next drive, but that's somewhere from a 3 to a 10-point swing. So anytime you can take points off the board is a huge, huge play in the football game.
He's kind of been the odd man out in that starting lineup, but like you just said, he can play in just about any position. What kind of a team guy does it take to, take that when you have that kind of disappointment, but say, okay, yeah, I'll do whatever I need?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously, it takes a special player, special team to not be the quote unquote starter on paper. But I think I see things much differently than you guys do. I hope the kids see it the same way than the media or Twitter or the card that goes out. Like Rodney Robinson and Shea Oladipo are both starters, right? Marco and Drew are both starters. Like we're playing some different packages where the depth of those positions sometimes isn't always exactly what you want in college football. So how do you protect those guys? You're rolling them in and out. But to me, those guys are starters. And I know they don't go on the card and they don't walk out there first for the first play of the game, or they don't get their thing on the scoreboard. But to me, they're starters. Like, I don't care who's in the game. I don't tell coaches, hey, make sure this guy's in the game. It's just we're rotating those guys through and they're playing the same amount of reps. So to me, we have way more than 11 starters, if that makes sense to you guys.
Are you playing more dime this year because of the personnel, or is more of the situation just dictating?
Yeah, I think it's always about your personnel. How can you maintain depth with your personnel? And then we always got to look at who we're playing. And it might look different if you're playing a team that's a big 2 tight ends in the game and running the football. It might look way different. But so far this year, the teams we've played have been a lot of 11 personnel and a lot of spread formations, a lot of trying to get you in space.
Too, never allow you guys to play that much dime too, and his ability to come down the box and almost be a linebacker, it seems like for a lot for you guys. Yeah, I mean, tubes allows you to do a ton. And last year, at the end of the year, Ty Benefield was playing that position, and he allowed us to do a ton. And it's not necessarily the skill set with those guys, because I think there's a lot of safeties in today's football game that have that skill set. With tubes, it's the mental process. Like if we go to nickel, he can play boundary safety. If we go to dime, he can play dime. If we go to other personnel packages on third down, he can do whatever we ask him to do. He can blitz like a linebacker. He understands the drops, not only the drops, but the drops from the line of scrimmage where he has to end up. So the mental piece from him and helping other guys get lined up is the huge, huge part for us. Ahmed's had a lot of big games here, but in terms of like where that one last Saturday ranks, where does it rank for you?
For Ahmed, yeah, I think probably his best game that I've been here. I'd have to go back and check, but probably his best game since I've been here as a Bronco. And I don't know the games where I wasn't here, but he played really hard and he was very productive and he made a big impact on that football game.
Nothing really ever surprises you with him, but we knew this year that coming in, people were going to know who 91 was. And it seems like he's definitely starting to figure it out. And they have sacked in the first game. He's found a way to get home in each of the last 3 games, though. So how has he kind of started to figure it out, I guess?
Yeah, I think he's I don't know if it's him figuring it out. I think he's probably got it figured out. I thought Georgia Southern, those guys did a good job of getting the ball out quickly. And then, Portland State, he had the opportunity for multiple sacks, and we didn't get the guy on the ground, and he's got that corrected. So Ahmed's a special kid, man. He understands what he didn't do well the previous week. He understands what he did do well, and he works to correct the things. Like, he's not worried, that worked, so I'm going to continue to do that. He wants to correct the things that he didn't do well, so he can even out that game. And he does a great job week to week of working, and he just works.
What's Utah State's best strengths offensively?
Yeah, they have a really good running back. They have a slot receiver, number 23, and an edge receiver, number 1, that are dangerous players, and they do a good job formationally of stretching the defense, both vertically and horizontally. Horizontally by formation, vertically with some of the routes. So to get those playmakers the ball in space is always a challenge for you too. And they've had a couple different quarterbacks come in the game. One can run a little better, and one's got a big arm. So we got a challenge, depending on which quarterback's in the game and formationally what they want to do to us. They've also shown that week to week they're going to have a different plan to run the football. So it's not consistently like you see from some teams that here's the run game. We just got to figure out formations and motions, but here's the run game. These guys are kind of a run of the week. So it's going to take us, we're going to have to play rules football. We're going to have great eye control, and we're going to have to figure out what that run plan of the week is real early in the football game.
Spencer's been pretty consistent, obviously, 1 week at a time, not looking ahead, whatever. But now that you guys are in conference play and to get to some of your, ultimate goals, you got to win the conference. I mean, is it turned up at all this week, or just getting back into conference play and kind of taking that next start to the next step in your journey? What's that like around here?
Yeah, I think every week should be the same, right? If you're trying to reach your ultimate goal. I know it's cliche, but it's a nameless, faceless opponent. And if you want to know the truth, we haven't done anything in the Mountain West yet. We have 0 wins. So we're the same as everybody else. We got to win our first Mountain West game before we can even talk about anything else. So it's about Utah State, but more importantly, it's about Boise State right now. And we need to get things fixed on defense, and we need to move forward with the progression of the package. And we just need to have a great week of practice so we can go out and operate on Saturday afternoon.
John here on 4th and 1 probably has a pretty good batting average. Can you take us through the eyes of Marco Notriani on that play and what he was able to do?
Yeah, so, I want to say this first off. Our assistant coaches, okay, they had a sneak on 4th and 1, okay, which we were not prepared for. Error on me, okay. After that play, we said they're going to come back to that because that didn't look very good. Okay, our assistant coaches, I got the information down to them. They got that thing drawn up in a hurry. They got that all worked out. They got it lined up perfectly. And Coach Collins and Coach Stockton told Marco exactly how to play that thing. So I want to make sure that everybody understands those assistant coaches did an unbelievable job. And then the kids went out and operated that thing like we practiced it all week, and we didn't. So that was an awesome job by them.
You mentioned needing to get stuff fixed, but I mean, is that easier when you win? I mean, is it easier when you still win? You still have the good feeling, but it's easier to show guys maybe the clips and plays that didn't go well.
Yeah, it's always easier to fix things when you're laughing and smiling than when you're crying, and it's easier to probably bring the hammer down on the guys a little bit when they're feeling good about themselves than when they're licking their wounds. So. Always prefer to fix things after a win than after a loss, but sometimes you don't get that luxury.
You're the leader of this defense, right? So as the coordinator, to see it connect on such a pivotal play in the game, going back to that 4th and 1, like what does that do for you? I would assume it's pretty encouraging.
It's really encouraging. Just the way that room operates up there, that staff room. Our assistant coaches are unbelievable. I'm talking about assistant coaches, GAs, consultants. Those guys, they have an area of the game plan that they break down and become experts on. Then they bring it to me, and we watch it as a staff. We work that game plan together. Ultimately, in football, that plan is put together by us, not me. And then when things go right out there, We put those kids in the situation where we think they can become successful, and then they execute. So anything that goes right out there is those kids, right? They are the magic. There's no magic calls. They execute the call that we called. And when things went wrong out there, that was probably a bad call by me or something I didn't have them prepared for. But those kids are the magic, and our assistant coaches are as a pivotal part of this thing as it's never just me. So it's an awesome staff and an awesome group of kids.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bronco Nation News is presented by RowPaint.com, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, by Lithia Ford, The Blue and Orange Store, Western Collective, by Jackson's, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Bauscher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, by Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and by Timberstone Golf Course.